Welcome to Linda's Real Deal Talk Show. Today our topic is investing in real estate. Why should you invest in real estate? Would you like to leave a legacy for your family? Well, we have our guest today who will give you some tips and suggestions on why and how and the benefits of investing in real estate. And today our guest is Tanur Badgley. So let's give Tanur a big, warm welcome.
Give Linda a welcome.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Tanur, so very much for being on the Linda's Real Deal Talk Show. I really appreciate that.
I'm honored.
Yes. I'm looking forward to gleaning some information about why real estate is the way to go to invest in leaving a legacy for your family. But to start off, I want the audience to get to know you.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. What would you like to share about your life growing up?
Well, I grew up in Topeka, Kansas. I come from middle-class upbringing. I had divorced parents. That played a big role in my childhood. And I had a younger brother who is my best friend throughout my life, and today he's my business partner in our real estate business. The two of us love playing sports. I was on some really high-performing teams where we took it really seriously. My baseball team won a state championship. I was the pitcher on the final game. It was amazing memory. When I was 14, I was mobbed on the mound with like all my 15 teammates, and people were like throwing water around, and it was like a huge celebration because we worked so hard. I also took school really seriously. I was placed into a program called Gifted Education, which shaped my journey a lot. So technically I was a special education student. I had an individual education plan. I had special classes. I would go on field trips every other week. And I was really blessed to be with a group of really curious young people that saw the world uniquely, and we were nurtured to think that way as well by our teachers. As high school started, I got into the church. So I started doing church ministry stuff through my mom, and that taught me a lot about God. I read the whole Bible when I was 15 years old. That shaped a lot of my beliefs and my thoughts. I got to a place where I just wanted to be able to get out of Topeka, Kansas. I'd experienced it my whole upbringing, so when I was 18, I decided to go to college out of state. I chose a small liberal arts school in Minnesota, and that was the beginning of my journey into just kind of living an alternative life. I got to travel to Morocco for 4 months. I lived there. I traveled Central America by myself for 6 weeks. I moved to Thailand for 15 months, then back to Thailand for 6 months, then back to Thailand for 4 months. And I think childhood really helped shape a lot of my journey and helped give me the confidence I needed to be able to be an entrepreneur today.
That is wonderful. Something exciting happened in Thailand.
For sure, yeah.
What happened in Thailand?
I found my wife. That was a pretty
Yes.
unexpected thing. I remember when I arrived there, people were telling me, "You're gonna find a wife," and I was like, "There's no way. I'm here to be single. I'm here to learn how to love myself again." And I guess in the process of really following my bliss and finding extreme levels of joy and happiness consistently, some girl was attracted to that, and I liked her back, and it eventually turned into a girlfriend situation, and then eventually my wife. I also found my third business partner, Phil, at the same place I found my wife. We met on the same Frisbee field in Thailand that I met my wife. So I found my business partner and my wife in Thailand playing Ultimate Frisbee in Chiang Mai.
Oh, I like it. Very interesting life, yes.
Pretty interesting, yeah.
Okay, now I want to pick your brain.
Cool.
Tell us, why did you decide to invest in real estate? What inspired you?
So I guess I have kind of a classic story around that. I read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and that book transformed my perspective a lot. So I really liked teaching. When I was 23, I moved to Thailand to figure out what I wanted to do, who I wanted to be, how I wanted to exist daily. And I found a love and a joy for teaching. And as I was teaching, I eventually made it into a master's program in San Francisco. And then I read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I was on the Poor Dad track. I was the teacher that was working the job. I was giving 60, 70 hours a week to my students. I was getting paid, like in San Francisco, I was getting paid like below the poverty line. I was living on my bicycle. I wasn't eating dinner because I couldn't afford it. And I was like, how is this a plan to be married and have a family and have like time? Like, it's just, I looked around and nobody had any of those things I wanted at my school. And I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I knew that. I just didn't know how to get started. And so once I learned about real estate, it kind of clicked. I can be a real estate entrepreneur. Because in Thailand, I got to meet a ton of entrepreneurs. Like, so many people from America and Western countries are living in Thailand, running businesses online, making way more than they need to live in that local economy. And they're traveling and just living an amazing life. And so I wanted that freedom. I didn't know how to find it. I didn't want to personally like trade stocks or build an e-commerce store or do something that just didn't feel super meaningful. I wanted to do something where you can really impact people's lives, and you create a lot of wins for everyone involved. So I chose real estate because it's really relationship driven. You can really lean on your team. You can lean on your partners. You can find mentors. You can there's it's a team sport. And I always tend to find myself kind of captaining as team. That's generally been a theme in my life. And so I was like, I can definitely do this. You just got to figure out some of the stuff, but it's not rocket science. You just learn the basic rules about how it works. You build a team. You can design your business to fit the lifestyle you want to live. And I just saw that vision, and once that became real, I was just like, there's no way I'm not going to do that.
I love that. You said one of the tips to getting into real estate, you said build a team. So give us some other steps or tips on investing in real estate.
Yeah, so I think it's important that you get fully educated first about what you're doing, because there's a lot of ways to participate in real estate. For me, I fell into something that I think a lot of new people do, which is I bought a course that was like $30,000. I paid for it all on credit cards. I had no money, so I took out all these credit cards at 0% interest rate for a year and a half. I invested. I said, I'm going to learn everything I can so I can get started. I found myself buying and selling land, flipping a house, wholesaling real estate, raising money for a mobile home park. And I was going crazy because I was doing way too many things at once. I wasn't an expert in any of these things. And so I guess one of my tips is get educated on the whole thing, but then find your focus within it, and then just keep drilling down at that thing.
Yeah, so you said drill it down to a focus. So what is that focus? How do you explain what you mean by focus? Drill it down to a focus.
Yeah, so early on I read the book The One Thing. Part of my education journey has always been this concept of masterminds. I like to be in them. I like to create them. And so we had this book club thing going in Thailand with different entrepreneurs. And we had like 8 of us reading this book together and meeting about it weekly. And this book has exercises in it that help you really focus on what is the one thing that by doing that thing, it makes all these other things unnecessary or irrelevant, just not the primary thing anymore. And they talk about the domino effect, how a flick of one domino can eventually topple a big building if you pile the dominoes correctly. And so in my journey of discovering how to participate in real estate, like I said, I tried all these things. I realized we need something that is manageable and consistent. I wanted to focus on one market, one asset type. So I chose Kansas City, single family. And then I wanted to focus on sourcing the deal because I figured if you could source deals, you can do anything with these deals. So then I got into wholesaling. We got stuck there longer than I wanted to get stuck there, but we got lots of reps. We eventually did 80 wholesales, which is a bunch of houses we could have owned, but we gave away. And now what we're doing is we're sourcing the deals, we're keeping the deals, we're creatively structuring the deals, and then we're selling them to families on a path to home ownership. So we've also targeted who we're selling to now too, not just anyone that wants to buy a property. We're selling to families that are deserving to have home ownership but are not able to with the banks. So now we have a very specific focus at the start and the end, and business success is better than it has been at any other point because I think we're finding focus. We have a lot of great minds focusing on one thing. We're optimizing, creating efficiencies. Yeah, if you're trying to do 6 things at once by yourself, without a team, you're not, how would you compete with us?
Yes.
It's
Got it.
Yeah.
Interesting. So how has real estate changed your life?
Well, I've been an entrepreneur for 3 years now. That's a pretty big shift. Like, I get to wake up and feel amazing. I get to journal. I get to meditate. I get to take trips. I go to a different state every month. I've gotten to be able to like captain a team of awesome people that fit a set of core values that I've identified are like the boundaries of people we want to have here. So it's helped me find like some of my like best friends. It's created an amazingly like intimate relationship with my 2 business partners. I'm kind of in like multiple marriages right now because I got my wife, and then I also have Phil, and I have my brother Bryce. And then like I'm a pretty big figure in certain people's life, like Galena and Bobby, for example. It's helped sharpen who I am as a person. It's matured me a lot. It's helped me to, if I'm going to lead people places, I need to know where we're going. And I need to know that I can embody the character and integrity and skills to get us there. And so everything I'm doing is so shaped towards like being the highest version of myself, reaching my potential, uncovering my gifts. It's a nice level of accountability that's gotten created around that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that. That's why I asked the question, how has real estate changed your life? Because it can. And explain to us again your big why, because when you choose something, your why keeps you going, it keeps you inspired. So tell us your why.
Yeah, so I figure that the thing that makes me come alive is helping people find their purpose and fulfill it. I have a podcast called People of Purpose. I actually just did an interview right before this one where I was the interviewer. And so I really want to create a community where people are fulfilling their purpose, and real estate is definitely a big component of this community because I want us to be able to like live together. Not all under the same house. That would probably be crazy to have lots of people living in the same house. Although we do have like 5 in our house now.
Interesting. Yes.
But I want like a community where it's like we are like living side by side. We're sharing spaces. We're creating like an ideal situation where our kids are raised how they ought to be raised, where we're eating good, healthy food, where we have like, we're a model for a sustainable like energy society. People know and love their neighbors. We are doing humanitarian things to support the outward communities. Everyone is getting equipped with the skills and financial knowledge to be abundant financially. I want to create all that type of thing. And so real estate and creating home ownership for people are 2 very like staple features of that. But I imagine the business continues to evolve, or maybe breaks into different divisions. But yeah, like more and more I'm trying to facilitate creation of community where people can come alive in their purpose. And I trust that that's going to create amazing things.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. So he answered my question. That was my next question. What are your goals and aspirations? And I just love you just explain what your dreams are, what you want to accomplish, and your big why. I really appreciate you sharing your life and your heart. And I'm curious, tell us a little bit more about your show. Once again?
My show is People of Purpose. Just this
Purpose.
week is the 5th year anniversary of my podcast.
Oh, wonderful.
I started the podcast out of a desire to elevate the stories of the people I was meeting in my travels. I had a blog before this, which was about how I experienced these people, but putting a microphone with them and interviewing them and like publishing it for, I think 400 or 500 people listen to each episode now. It does something more impactful, I think, that way, and allows them to share their stories. So that was kind of the start of it, and then it's evolved over time into, I don't know, I think a big benefit that I've enjoyed is like I've found super high quality mentors and guides and coaches in the process. It allows me to lead other people better. It's given me book recommendations. For example, I started real estate investing because of a guest. My podcast guest, Whitney Chafin, was like, you ought to like look into real estate investing. I'm like, I know nothing about that. What are you talking about? And then she's like, well, my dad's like a high up instructor in Rich Dad Education, and I can get you, into a weekend seminar for free if you want. And I was like, sure, let's check it out. So yeah, that happened. like, I don't know, it's created a lot of like synchronicities and serendipities that have allowed me to step into my purpose, which has probably been the greatest impact it's had on me.
Oh, love it. You're my role model. I want you to be my mentor. So I'm just getting started with the talk show, but I have dreams, aspirations. I want to see it to blow up, but I just
That's
thank
awesome.
you so much for helping me get started.
Yeah, for sure. Like when you have a show, like you get to make it your own. You're not like hired by some cable news outlet to do something. It's like, I think it's the most like authentic expression of like what you want to create in the world. You literally, the limits are whatever you can imagine and believe and achieve. So
Yes,
I love
exactly.
it. I think you'll succeed for sure.
So, if anybody wants to contact you or connect with you, how can someone do that?
I guess probably most recently my new and revamped Instagram is probably a good place.
Okay.
It's my name, Tanur Badgley. Also Facebook, Tanur Badgley on Messenger would work for me as well. Yeah, those probably are two good places. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, very much. And now, in conclusion, I would like Tanur to leave some words of wisdom for you.
Okay. I think it's really important that what you do is something that you love and that you can show up for consistently. And by doing those things, you're blessing so many lives, and you need to recognize that that by leading with love for what you do and what you do for others, you will receive so much more than if you were just trying to take and gain yourself. And one thing that I think if you do get involved in real estate that you'll find is that when you add so much value to these other people's lives, sellers and buyers, lenders, whoever you're working with, you stand to benefit immensely. So yeah, I think just trust like leading with value, and that value being your love, your energy, your belief in others, and they will rise into their potential as you give them that support.
Thank you. So ditto, everything he said, exactly, that's how I feel is about Linda's Real Deal Talk Show. I want to give back to the community. I want to help others achieve their goals and dreams. And I know I will be blessed in return. So no, I'm not even worried about that. And I want to say thank you very much for attending Linda's Real Deal Talk Show. It's a pleasure to have you leave comments and feedback and like and share. I really appreciate that. And stay tuned because we will have some more exciting, dynamic speakers on our show. But in the meantime, keep it real. Talk about whatever's on their heart, yeah.
How's the journey been for you having a show?
It's exciting. Okay, I'm in Toastmasters, and in Toastmasters, we work on different areas of speaking, vocal variety, eye contact, and organization, and just basically confidence. And so the highest award in Toastmasters is called DTM, Distinguished. And talk about whatever's on their heart.